Today I did something really brave. I went out in public with my face with no lotion on.
Arriving at Retrospect. Retrospect Station. Doors will open on the left.
Welcome back, passengers, to Retrospect Station, the show where I show you just how colorful life can be. I'm your host, Elizabeth Dean, and last week we talked about eyes being transported for transplantation in a Greyhound bus, and the bus was haunted, and it was spooky. And so this week I'm not going to give you any spookies. You may see that my hand is out of the brace. I have the brace. People watching the video, I have the brace. I'm going to put it on later. But that's because I need my hand free to deal with today's episode topic, which is me and my ashy ass skin. Oh, God. I dropped my lotion bottle on the ground. So, as you may have noticed, this episode is called Itchy 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 Itchy. And wow, what a waveform on the audio that made. That was fun. So, topic of this episode is my eczema. It's not been something that I've much talked about to many people, friends included. And I think really only my best friend might properly have an understanding of how it works for me. Not least because she's got experience with other people with eczema. Eczema, whatever. Some people say it one way, the other. Tomato. I say it eczema. Some days I say it eczema. I like to switch it up. Other than that, I don't think many people understand what's going on. Even my family. I don't think that my parents and my sibling really have a concept of what this is. They observe it. They see what happens to me. By all means. They know what my distress looks like, but they don't really get what the heck's going on with me. Even with explanation. So I figured I might break some stigma on that and also just explain how that affects me. Because, hey, why not? I'm reflecting back on parts of my life, and this is an utter constant since the day I was born. So, on that note, since the day I was born, my mother looked at me once I'd been washed off and everything, as you do when you're a newborn. They bring you to the side, they wash you, and they bring you back, and you're all wrapped up and whatever. And when she brought me home from the hospital, one of the things she observed with my skin, almost immediately, is that after she would clean me up, because you can't really shower a baby or bathe a baby like that. You kind of have to hold them in your hands and just gently water on skin kind of thing. But she would do this, and then I was only a few months old when she first noticed that my skin has this sheen across it. And I think it was after I had not to make people scared of vaccines or anything, but there was I think it was the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine that I got. And at the time, it was cultured in eggs, and the way that they used to do that might not have been the way they do it now. And I have an egg allergy. So as a side effect, which is a really mild side effect, and it goes away and it doesn't do anything, I just got a little bit of bumpy, Hy-Vee rashes here and there, really small. They were really fine all over my body. And after the rash cleared, after a week or so, I still kind of had this texture on my skin that was not normal. And my mom noticed, and she was like, "What is this?" And she brought me to my pediatrician. And my pediatrician took one look at my skin, really he was an amazing doctor. And he took one look at my skin and was like, "Your child has eczema." And my mom was like, "What is that?" And he tried to explain what it would require. I don't think he fully really explained what it does. And to be fair, in 1998, no one really knew what it did. So he did his best, but he explained to her what she would need to do. And one of the things was constantly moisturizing my skin, constantly giving me clean clothes to wear, ideally light colored garments. So things that didn't have a lot of clothing dye in it, things that were made of cotton. He said, like, as much as possible, have her wear cotton. Don't have her wear wool or polyester or whatever, because those fabrics, when they break down and they leave fabric material on the skin, those will irritate her skin. Cotton doesn't break down as easily. So it's a sturdier fiber. Give her that to wear. And so that's what she did. And for the first, 12 years of my life, my mom was responsible for my skin. And then I kind of took over at that point because I was a little old enough to really fully understand how to take care of my skin. But she went through the majority of my life feeling like it was just a really, really awful version of dry skin. And it is so not that. It's the thing that's observable. So you'll see if someone wants to look at the video. Let me see if I can zoom myself in. This will be the first zoom in I've ever done on Retrospect Station. That's the lens cover. That's not the zoom button. Let's see. Where is the zoom? Oh, that's the zoom. I can't even use my own camera. No, that's out. There we go. Let me see if I can get into focus. Hi, it's me. Look at my skin. I purposefully didn't put any lotion on so you guys could see what the hell it looks like. Look at that. Is it here? Yeah, look at that. And look at that. People who can't see, who are watching, or not watching, who are listening, I have this white, scaly, it literally looks like the top layer of my skin has dried up beyond belief and then started peeling off in flakes. It's I've had people say that it looks gross. I don't blame them. It's not. It's literally just dry skin, but tumultuous amounts of it. And I've had people tell me it's gross. I don't see it as gross, and that's because I've lived with it all my life. I see it as a nuisance, and I see it as I feel sad about it. Whereas people will see it as gross, I will look at it and go, I hate this, with a very heartfelt sorrow. When you hate a part of yourself, when you look in the mirror, everyone's experiences at some point. When you look in the mirror and you hate some attribute about yourself physically, it feels exactly like that when I see it. And even more so because I can't control it. So now we got to part 2 of my ranting about eczema. So it's not dry skin. The thing is, it looks like dry skin. It presents as profoundly dry skin. And that's because the skin is dry. With eczema, the skin is dry. When I say the skin is dry, here's part 2. The skin is not lacking oil. So when people normally say, when they're talking about skin types, they say dry skin type, combination skin type, and oily skin type. And dry skin type is less oil. Combination skin type is you've got places where there's oil and places where there's not oil as much. And then oily skin type is that your skin in general, on average, is more oily than less oily. And so when people make lotions, I have with me the lotion that I'm currently using, which is not sponsoring anything, but I'm going to show you anyway, which is Vaseline. Is it Vaseline Intensive Care Dry Skin Repair? They have an even more, I think there's one that's called Advanced Dry Skin Repair, and I cannot use that one because it's way too oily. And that's my point. That's the second part of my point here. It's called Dry Skin Repair. The other one that Vaseline makes that's even more so is called Advanced Dry Skin Repair. And the thing that they've put in it to make it less to make it be like a remedy to dry skin is oil. Like this one here, the oil in it, the very first one I see is mineral oil, which, fun fact, I'm allergic to, but in small quantities, not as much. And then there's sunflower seed oil, oat extract. The other one had like 3 other oils in it. And by the time I was done putting it on my face, I felt like my skin was plunged in a vat of sunflower oil or something. And the problem is that we use 2 different terms to describe skin, like the skin composition. We use dry skin, or we don't use 2 different words. We use the same word to describe 2 different things, is how I mean. We use dry skin to describe skin that doesn't have enough oil, because when skin doesn't have enough oil, it does become dry. And we also use dry skin to refer to when people have dry, flaking skin, like dry patches that don't have moisture. The problem is not oil, though, in the case of eczema. So when skin doesn't have oil, it dries out. But the reason that skin dries out when it lacks oil is because the oil is part of a barrier system. So your skin's got a whole bunch of levels to it, and the top levels, they have water like in the skin cells, in the whole composition of that top layer of skin. And then, well, I shouldn't say top layer, the second to top layer. The very top layer is a set of proteins and fats and oils that together interlace to make the skin barrier, the moisture barrier. And that keeps all of your moisture in your skin, but it also prevents excess moisture from getting into the skin. So it keeps the balance as it should be for skin to thrive. And with people who have dry skin, in the context of oiliness, like dry combination oily, people who have dry skin, that top layer, that moisture barrier layer that produces some oils, that forms a little like thin layer barrier, they don't have as much oil that is forming that thin layer on their skin. And the purpose of that oil is to prevent water transporting from outside to inside and inside to outside of the skin, because oil and water repel one another. So when the water is blocked by the oil, it can't evaporate. So it helps further keep your skin from drying out. But with eczema, it's not an oil problem. And most moisturizers that are formulated, including the ones that say for eczema, are with oil, and it makes no difference. It helps nothing because I'm not missing oil. That's not how eczema works. The thing you're missing is water in your skin barrier. And again, people who have dry, like in the context of oil, people who have dry skin, their skin lacks moisture because they don't have the oil. My skin and people with eczema, our skin lacks moisture even if we have oil, because the thing that's broken about our skin is the moisture barrier structure itself. So this was only very recently discovered. As far as I'm concerned, it was discovered somewhere in like 2020 or 2021, 2019, maybe around that time, where I had come upon the article and paper, and I do not remember it now, that describes what it is specifically about the skin and its structure and anatomy that causes the traits of eczema that we see, like the things that happen for eczema. And this is not a catch-all thing, because there's like 7 different types of eczema, which I'll pull up in the second half of this episode. I'll pull up. But there's like 7 different types, and we don't really know why they happen. When I was coming up as a kid, there were 3 recognized types. I don't even remember what those types were. I remember one started with an A, one started with a D, and one started with a T, I'm pretty sure. And now they've completely recategorized eczema. I could be dead wrong, but I remember there being like only 3 types. And now that we've explored it more, there's 7 classifiable types. But the way that my eczema works, and a lot of people's eczema works, is that the protein, there's a couple of proteins that are part of the process of making the skin barrier. And one of those, so we'll call them protein A and protein B. The skin barrier contains protein B. It's one of the proteins that makes this structure. When your body makes protein B, it needs protein A as one of the ingredients to make protein B. I'll say it that way. The problem is not that your body can't make protein B. The problem is that your body doesn't make protein A, or like for people who have super severe eczema, and have this particular version of it, your body doesn't make protein A at all, basically. And your skin's a mess. Some people, some of their cells can make protein A, or maybe their body makes protein A, but not enough of it. And so your skin can't make protein B in large enough necessary quantities. So it's like trying to bake a cake, and you need I don't know, applesauce for your cake. It's like saying I'm trying to make a cake that requires applesauce, but I can't make applesauce, so I can't make the cake. Or I only have a little bit of applesauce, so I can only make a little bit of cake. It's like that. And I don't have enough cake. Give me cake. I don't have enough of protein B on my skin. And so what that means is that in patches on my skin here and there where I have a defective moisture barrier, my skin's water evaporates out. It doesn't stay. And I can put all the oil I want on my skin. It's still not going to make a difference, because unless I'm literally saturated in oil, the water is going to evaporate, and I can't be saturated in oil because pimples everywhere. If you look on my skin, I don't know if I can find them. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys a picture as well as what I looked like about 3 days back. And you'll see that there's a giant pimple under my right eye. Yeah, there was a giant pimple under my right eye. This comes from me putting on a whole heap of lotion on my face, because I have literally no other resolution for any of this stuff. Now, people may go, aren't there medicines for eczema? Yes, there are. There are non-steroidal medicines, which means they're not steroids. Steroids are a class of drugs that are anti-inflammatories, and they're good for helping skin heal, but if you constantly use them, then they may thin your skin, discolor your skin, actually further irritate your skin, because they're not meant to be like a long-term drug. Some people do have to use it long-term because their eczema is super severe. And you may or may not have seen TikToks of people saying that they're coming off of their steroids and this is what it looks like, and their skin's like peeling at every corner. And I mean, yeah, that's how that goes. But there's another class of medicines for eczema that are called immunomodulator drugs. Well, to explain immunomodulator drugs and why they work in a short form, and why I have them and take them, but I don't take them often, I have to explain to you what eczema is. So it's not dry skin. So far, to date, to this moment, all I've done is talk about dry skin. The thing that happens with a broken moisture barrier is that the moisture in your skin evaporates out. That's one effect. Eczema is like a stat decrease in a game, and it's got like 16 different nerfing effects on you, like the -1 moisture in your skin, -1 pretty, -1 all sorts of things. Okay, so here are all the effects. One of them is you lack moisture in your skin's always dry, your skin's always peeling, you look like your skin is dry and peeling. That's number one. Number two, the converse to that is that your skin is always thirsty. And that means that it will soak up water really quickly all at once. And that includes the moisture in lotion. That includes when you take a shower. That includes even if you just get your hands wet, for example, or your face wet. That is a problem. Remember how earlier I said that your skin's moisture barrier is responsible for keeping the balance of how much moisture is in your skin, keeping enough of it in, but also keeping enough of it out from the outside world? That's the problem. My skin doesn't keep out enough moisture either. So my skin can get oversaturated with water. And guess what? Just as much as dry skin is itchy because it's lacking moisture, really, really wet skin can also be really itchy, especially once it's no longer in the water and it's drying out in the air. Because what's going to happen is all that extra moisture that got soaked up in my skin is going to evaporate out. And I don't have a moisture barrier that works. So more than is required of the water in my skin will evaporate out. And now and I can feel it. I tell you right now, I can feel water evaporate out of my skin when I'm wet. It's not a fun feeling. It's a really itchy feeling. And then you want to itch it. Now, those are two status effects. That's the word I was looking for, status effects. Here's another status effect. Any irritation on the skin means itchy. Thus the title, itchy, 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 itchy. And how I mean is having my skin be dry, itchy. Having my skin be wet, itchy. Having my hair brush across my skin, having my hair brush across my skin, itchy. A random hair up my back, caught under my shirt or something, itchy. A crumb or a piece of lint in the wrong crease of skin, itchy. Sweat on my skin, itchy. And the reason is your moisture barrier does more than just help water stay in and out of the skin. Your moisture barrier is responsible for your skin being safe from all of the outside elements of the world. Your moisture barrier keeps out dust, lint, debris, excess oils from your skin, dust mites, sweat, salts from your sweat, all sorts of those things. Your moisture barrier separates the outside from the inside. When you have a defective moisture barrier from eczema, like I do, you have these tiny micro cracks all throughout your skin where it's broken and open. And that means that bacteria can get in. That means that skin bacteria can get in. Other bacteria can get in. All of the things I mentioned before can get in. And it's just itchy. When you cut your skin open and then a few days later it's itchy, that's it, but everywhere. And it feels... Because I've been told, oh, don't itch, sweetie. Don't itch. My parents, teachers, doctors, friends, don't itch it. I'm sorry. But you would be clawing your skin apart if you had ants crawling under every square inch of the first layer of your skin. And that's what it feels like. It feels like the most furious colony of the tiniest ants crawling frantically in every direction under every square inch of the skin that's affected. There is no way to not want to itch that. And people have, it's been documented that people with eczema are predisposed to depression, and they don't really know exactly if it's like a genetic thing only or solely, or if it's environment. But I'm telling you right now, they're going to find out that just as somebody with this, they're going to find out that it's environment, because there's no way that this is psychologically survivable without developing some amount of insanity as a result of it. I have once been so itchy, I was like, it might be better to be dead. And then the next day I was like, no, I'm fine. I want to live. But the night prior, when I couldn't sleep because every square inch of my neck was unbearably itchy. And it's like a deep inside your layers of skin itch that you can't get to. And the more you itch it, the more you damage your skin, obviously, but the better it feels. And then the moment you stop itching, it's like, oh my God, no, it's even itchier than before. And that has to do with an aspect of eczema that is supposedly neurological. So when you itch, your body's supposed to go, oh, yay, itch, done, hooray. But with eczema, when you itch it, you can stimulate the nerves to feel like you should continue to itch it. And then it's even more itchy and the skin self-irritates. So that's eczema. Another status effect is swelling. Like gruesome, horrific, ugly inflammation. And sorry, in the background, I'm looking up the 7 types of eczema. 7 eczema types. And it's because it's not just a like a dry skin kind of thing. It is when your skin interprets an invader, then your skin will inflame. And because your skin barrier is broken, everything is an invader. All of your sweats, your oils, your salts, your everything, the lint, the dye on your shirt, in your fabrics, everything is an invader. And so your skin, because it's broken open everywhere, is inflaming and becoming weepy, and all the things that would happen with a normal skin injury is happening, but in large patches over your skin, because every single one of these micro cracks is doing this reaction. And it's an immune reaction. Your immune system is what's really responding. So to now get to that immunomodulator drug, one of the drug lines that they use are immunomodulators. Me personally, I use Protopic. I used to use Elidel, same kind of category of drug. One of them supposedly will work better for my type than the other. I don't know. But that was what they gave me to use. Note the word I say, immunomodulator. The way the drug works is it kills off certain immune cells that are like the first responder immune cells. And if those immune cells don't respond, then the rest of the immune system response doesn't get triggered. And so you don't get swelling and all this kind of stuff. I can use it, and I have used it, but there's a problem. Once you have broken skin, you're playing like a gambling game where you don't know if there's bacteria in the broken eczema patch that you're putting the medicine on. So I can put the medicine on, but if it's already infected with a bacteria and I put the Protopic on, because I kill off my immune cells, I will actually cause the infection to take hold. And I've done that before. I've put on medicine, and then the next day I woke up with a full-blown skin infection and I had to go get antibiotics for it. Or you could put it on your skin and hunky-dory, everything works. And it's really like a toss-up because you don't know if bacteria got in the skin already. Like, I wouldn't be able to know. So I hate using the drug because of that game I have to play. I've pulled up the 7 types of eczema. I thought I would make this a longer episode, but I'm running out of time. And honestly, you're going to hear me talk about this. You'll see me scratch my skin constantly on different episodes. You'll hear me scratch my skin for the audio listeners. It's something I have to involuntarily do because I literally cannot help it. It's a constant feeling on my skin that if I don't touch it, I will go insane. Attention all passengers, we interrupt this episode to give you a special announcement. Literacy is at an all-time low these days for reasons outside of our control, so I thought what better way to do my part than with a word of the week. This week's word is nummular. This will be relevant very soon in this episode, and it is spelled N-U-M-M-U-L-A-R. I realized that I didn't spell qualia last week either. Qualia is spelled Q-U-A-L-I-A. But nummular, N-U-M-M-U-L-A-R, and Merriam-Webster defines it as characterized by circular or oval lesions or drops. I also saw somewhere that it said coin-shaped. And an example of a nummular would be, I have nummular eczema, which means that the eczema is shaped in coin shapes. Yeah, nummular. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming. You may have heard me. Maybe I left that in. I don't know. See? Itchy. I've pulled up the 7 types of eczema. And while I read the names out and tell you what they are, I'm going to put lotion on my skin. Now that I've shown you what my skin looks like, I'm going to show you the magic that happens when I finally put lotion. Oh, and the other effect is, remember, moisture is always evaporating out of the skin. I can put on lotion. Ah, that's so much nicer. But 10 minutes later, my skin will be back to being dry because all of the moisture has evaporated, but the product hasn't left my skin. So I'm dry, and now I'm gooey, and I need more lotion, and I can't put too much lotion on my skin, or else I'm going to get acne, because I do actually have oil on my skin. I actually don't have a dry skin type. I have a combination skin type / oily skin type, I think because my body's compensating. Yeah. Okay. 7 types of eczema are atopic dermatitis. That's the first one. That is a skin irritation. It usually happens from like sweat, or it could be just some sort of irritation that causes a rash in the skin. It's the most common appearance of eczema, and it's probably the easiest to heal. Usually it comes from dry skin or something like that. The next one, though, is contact dermatitis. Contact because of touch. That one comes from when like a dye or a cloth or something gets on the skin. Dermatitis is just the medical term for skin rash and like an inflammation of the skin. So that one is the one that comes from clothings and dyes and soaps and that kind of stuff. Then there's dyshydrotic eczema. I don't freaking remember what that one is. Hold on. Dyshydrotic eczema is a condition characterized by the sudden appearance. I'm reading off of the National Eczema Organization. Dyshydrotic eczema is a condition characterized by the sudden appearance of small, intensely itchy blisters on the sides of the fingers, toes, palms, and sole of the feet. These blisters can cause significant discomfort and may be filled with fluid. Yeah, I've had that. Every so often, my fingers get these blisters at the side, and they're unbelievably itchy. They're like little pimples, but they're not pimples. They're blisters. And yeah, that's eczema. I get that. Then there's a neurodermatitis. Neurodermatitis is the one that I described where there's a neurological aspect to just suddenly getting eczema, like itchy. And the more you itch it, the more itchy you get. You'll notice I'm putting several layers of lotion on, and it's still not going to be enough. I'm probably going to still have to wash my face or later to get water in my skin. That one was the one where it's entirely psychological and the inflammation starts just because. Nummular eczema, which is the one that I have currently all over my face, which is, I hate so much. Nummular eczema is where it is, or it's also called discoid eczema. It's where the patches are in like oblong oval discs. I'm just checking because I'm gonna have to give up the room. They're in oblong. Oh God. It's like an oval shaped patch, and they raise and they can get huge, like at least 3 centimeters across. Then there's seborrheic dermatitis. That's a eczema of the scalp, and it's specifically caused by hair oils and stuff like that. And then there's stasis dermatitis. Oh, what's that one? Oh, stasis dermatitis is a type of eczema that happens when you have poor blood circulation, which usually happens in your legs. I have that slightly, and it usually only happens when I've been sat down for a very long time. Other than that, doesn't normally happen. But yeah, that's how my eczema works. I thought I'd get more into it, but I feel like maybe you'll hear more about this throughout, I think. But this is how I manage it. I just kind of am in a constant battle with it. It's exhausting. Like, it is actually physiologically exhausting. I'm fatigued and tired when I have patches and flare-ups and stuff that get really serious. And it makes me sleepy when my skin is damaged like that. Like my body wants to sleep to get rid of the damage. And I mean, it just sucks in general. Like, I hate it. It sucks. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And I can think of my worst enemy, and I really wouldn't wish it upon him. So, yeah. If you have this condition, know that at least they know what causes it now. And so one day there'll be a cure. I think one day in my lifetime, there will actually be a cure for it. Something that's effective. But other than that, I mean, like, here we are. This is my condition. This is what I've got going on. So there are days where, for example, like this episode is late. Last week's episode is very late. And part of it is usually when I get eczema flare-ups. It's like a chronic condition that I can't really get rid of. And it has its toll on my life. So, yeah. That's all for this episode. It was like more of a rant episode. If you liked it, show it to somebody you like. Show this to a person you know with eczema. But if you want to follow the podcast online, you can follow at Retrospect Station on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to follow what I do online, you can follow me at AstroAlex34 on Instagram and TikTok. And if you feel like donating to the podcast, because I don't, this is all I do, you can choose to buy me a coffee at coffee.com/retrospect station, which is ko-fi.com/retrospect station. That's all for this episode, and I will see you next week. Toodles!
A special thanks to the Mississauga Library Makerspace of Hazel McCallion Library. Without their resources, this show would not be possible.